Good afternoon. My name is Niko, host of the political radio show Mikasa Sukasa, which you can catch Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Times at awakeradio.us, Facebook Live, here on YouTube Live, iHeartRadio. And if you need to catch it afterwards, if you're busy on Fridays, which a lot of people are, I understand, you can always come back to YouTube and my Facebook page and watch it after. Um, so, obviously, the progressive world, the right world, and everybody in between has heard that Trump's national security advisor, Michael Flynn, has resigned. This is unprecedented because it's actually pretty weird that a national security advisor would resign so quickly in the face of conflict and adversity. Usually, this is where they stand their ground the hardest. They back their president. You know, the president comes out and defends them. They give, they give this. The president or the vice president will give this impassioned speech about how he holistically backs the person that he appointed, and that's not what happened. So that, of course, as you all know, because of the type of person I am, alarmed me. And admittedly enough, I did not know much about Michael Flynn, other than the little bit of research I did about him. You know, being the uh, director of national intelligence, I believe, at one point, and then just his military background. So outside of that, I hadn't done any research until I was compelled to research about this because in these situations, dates matter. And I'm actually here to tell you, Flynn didn't do anything wrong. I don't know why people think he did anything wrong. And it's awkward because people have been on my statuses and on my Twitter and everywhere, just everywhere, right? Sean King, Michael Moore, you know, I was convinced almost because everybody had been so, they've just been engulfed in this. If he's with Trump, he's got to be with Russia. He's got to be guilty. He has to be a spy, and that is it's more sensationalism. It's more alarmism. It's incomplete information. So, how about we review the dates? Okay, so Flynn had this conversation with a Russian ambassador at the end of December. A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't realize he was appointed Director of National Security then at the end of November by Trump, which means although Trump had not been inaugurated, although he had not been inaugurated, his job started. If you don't know how politics work, if you don't if you don't know or are unaware how national security works, his job started the day that he was inaugurated or that he was appointed by, at that time, President-elect Donald Trump, especially given the time frame that we had, and especially given the conflicts that we were having between Russia with the false notion that Russia had stolen elections, that Putin was directly connected with hacking and whatever the hell that means now. So Michael Flynn, being an intelligence director in the past, being a former general in the United States military, understands that when it comes to these issues, time is of the essence. And that I completely agree. And for those of you who don't know, I was in the military intelligence brigade. That was our job, intelligence. You cannot trifle with time, especially if you are in a situation with an unstable president that he knew. He's not an idiot. He knows President Trump is unstable. He also knows Russia is too in a lot of ways, and they have a lot of leverage over us in various ways. So he speaks to a Russian ambassador in his official capacity, says that sanctions are going to be lifted more than likely. Here's what is weird about this. They say he resigned because he released information saying it was an incomplete conversation between him and the ambassador. Essentially, the only thing he left out was that he said that sanctions were potentially going to be lifted. What they don't say is less than, I'll say about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, link will be below, Trump said the exact same thing. So let's be clear. Trump appoints the head, or he appoints a national security advisor. They're both going to these national security meetings and briefings to figure out what's happening with Russia and other parts of the country. Trump, I am sure, is having conversations with Michael Flynn. So is especially Vice President Pence. I know for a fact he was. And so we're going to pretend that neither of them knew. That why else would he say we're going to lift the sanctions? He didn't do anything wrong. Trump came out and said he was going to lift the sanctions also less than a week and a half later. And we're pretending like Michael Flynn is a spy. That if he has ties to Russia, so does Trump. So does Vice Pence. Somebody told him to make the call. Yes, someone told him to make the call. I 100% agree. Someone told him to make the call. But Russia shouldn't have sanctions on them to begin with if it has anything to do with this general fucking election. I think that's pretty clear at this point. What we aren't considering, what we're not thinking about, is the fact that Russia and America were at some DEFCON 4 or 5. And as soon as Trump comes in office, we're at DEFCON 2 or 3 or something like that. I can't remember the exact what DEFCON we were, but essentially we dropped dramatically and the chance of nuclear war with Russia decreased by a significant rate. Thank God, right? And these actions probably help facilitate this and maintain this. Michael Flynn, God, I can't believe I'm saying this about a Republican, but Michael Flynn may very well indeed be a patriot. Now, what we don't know is why the establishment wanted him gone. I don't think Trump had anything to do with his resignation, because the whole conversation is between Vice President Pence and in the briefing with Michael Flynn. And I'm like, I don't really, this sounds kind of cruel, but I don't really care about what the vice president knows or doesn't know. What did you talk to President Donald J. Trump about? Did he know? Are you just resigning because you didn't want to be part of this administration because you saw where it was headed, which I would greatly admire, because this guy has a pretty stellar career. Coming from a vet, he has a pretty stellar career. Seems to have a pretty clean record also. So maybe he didn't want this to be a blip on his career. At the same time, maybe Trump or Vice President Pence did not want to deal with the backlash because of the dossier issue, which I'll be addressing in another video. Because no, there might not be any significant information that can honestly damage Trump, but we don't want to create the air of significance because we know that the establishment will use whatever they can, even if they don't have the proof. They will impeach him because you don't need solid, factual proof or facts to impeach somebody. If I recall, I believe Andrew Jackson was impeached because people didn't like him. He wasn't taken out of his job, but he was impeached by the Congress and went to the Senate, and then I think it fell by like one vote. Clinton denied, but he was impeached for doing a sexual act, which technically isn't illegal. I mean, if it was, a lot of people would be in trouble. So especially a lot of politicians. So he knows that it just takes the air of doubt for him to be impeached. And so maybe they reached a compromise. But let's be very clear. Trump's ties to Russia are insignificant compared to what we've seen with other politicians. You need to understand that, and I will address that in another video. But Flynn's ties, progressives, leftists, establishment left, chill. If he was a spy, if he was committing espionage, which that is absolutely not espionage, that is a conversation between a national security advisor and the ambassador. That's a conversation that needs to be happening. If he committed espionage, treason, this man would be fraud. This is a Republican Congress, a Republican Senate, a soon-to-be Republican Supreme Court. I mean, just down the line, the FBI, Republican, the CIA, he would be hemmed up. He would be gone. He would be in jail. He would be out in handcuffs. But Michael Flynn, Sean King, all these CNN, all these people sensationalizing what he did. He was a national security advisor acting as official capacity to de-escalate a serious situation that could have potentially led to World War III or a nuclear war. That's a good national security advisor. And if he misled Vice President Pence, it was more than likely because Donald Trump specifically told him to. I will be 100% honest with you. It is more than likely because Donald Trump specifically told him to, because Donald Trump is yet to be mentioned out of Michael Flynn's mouth, Vice President Pence's mouth, and a lot of these establishment mainstream articles. We all know Trump is the populace, but Vice Pence is the establishment. And he lied to Pence. Well, miscommunicated. You know, that's what they're calling it. He miscommunicated with Pence. Pence is unimportant, but he is important to the establishment. Food for thought. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, find your balance. Have a good day.